When you live on the edge of the universe, the unknown is your enemy.
Dax! Full station security alert.
We have a hostage situation.
But what you fear isn't always on the outside.
Fugitive Dax is charged with the murder of my father.
Sometimes it's right on board.
Talk to me before I have to let these people take you.
Tell me what you want. They're boarding a ship.
Engage tractor beam.
On the next exciting episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
There's a bigger issue here. Just because a group of people belong to the Federation, it does not mean that they are saints. The trouble is Earth. On Earth, there is no poverty, no crime, no war. You look out the window of Starfleet headquarters and you see paradise. Well, it's easy to be a saint in paradise. Out there, all the problems haven't been solved yet. Out there are no saints, just people. Angry, scared, determined people who are going to do whatever it takes to survive.
What I want to know is, out of all the stories you told me, which ones were true and which ones weren't?
My dear doctor, they're all true.
Even the lies.
Especially the lies.
On behalf of the Bajoran government
And the Promenade Merchants Association.
I officially welcome you to Deep Space Nine.
Hello, everyone out there in podcast land. Welcome to Especially the Lies at Deep Space Nine podcast, the number 5 TV review podcast in the Netherlands, who just said that if we invade Greenland, they will defend it. So be nice to us, Netherlands. We didn't mean to do it. It's not our fault, kind of. We are a group of newbies watching Deep Space Nine for the very first time, and a group of oldies who are watching Deep Space Nine for the umpteenth time. And then there's Mike, who forgets half the stuff he watched, but he's trying.
I don't even remember this episode.
The episode we're going to be talking about today is Dax, the only Star Trek episode named specifically after character. That's a little bit of trivia for you. We had Spock's brain, we had Data's day, but we only had one Dax. Reminder before we get started to click all the links down below, join our social medias, and when you join our social medias, you can chat with us. I'm Scott, and with me is
Christopher,
Shannon,
Nicole,
Emily,
Mike,
Jessi,
Prentice.
Along with the clicking all the links, you can also find our YouTube channel if you are listening to the audio podcast, and find our audio podcast if you're on our YouTube. So it's all there. And then also you can join our Patreon, which also has a Discord where we do talk spoilers over there, as well as have a general chat for everyone else. And a special thank you to our producers listed down below who provide the top donation every single month. If you want to join our Patreon, that link is down there. And then finally, my last shill of the evening is, if you can, please leave a review, especially on Apple. That helps us grow a lot. And we did get another Apple review in this week, guys. And this one comes from our good friends up in Canada who are also booing us right now.
as they should.
Yes, they should. I will allow it because, wow. But this comes from Saluki3, which is confusing Christopher and I because Salukis are from Southern Illinois. But this says it's from Canada, so unless you're using a VPN, I'm going to go with it. So Excited is the title. I'm super stoked that my favorite Babylon 5 podcasters are doing DS9. Gives me an excuse to watch it again. The episodes aren't coming out fast enough. I've listened to the first 4 apps twice already. I'm so happy Jessi likes it and surprised she came back for more sci-fi. Hang in there. It's going to get good. I also can't wait to see which characters Nicole will ship together.
Aw, they're cute.
almost like they know us, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah,
But
right.
Nicole hasn't shipped anybody yet. We're like 7 episodes in.
I
and
know,
She has
it's-
not shipped.
It's a slow burn, but it's coming. I feel
She
it.
did say that somebody last week was shady. I do remember that. Or
Yep.
maybe it was
What?
Vash.
It's because the doctor is such a bad flirt.
yeah, the only real sexual tension is between Quark and Odo.
Yeah.
I would absolutely ship them.
Run. Anyway,
What are you doing, Nicole?
Go to me first.
But no, I haven't even done a synopsis yet.
Oh, sorry.
God damn.
hit me first.
Someone's an eager beaver.
She's going to be the last to go now, just for that reason.
Don't be mean to her.
Wow.
Okay, today we're going to talk about Dax, and I do believe Christopher has a synopsis for us.
New evidence reopens a 30-year-old murder case, and Dax's previous host, Corzon, is the prime suspect.
Dun, dun, dun. We'll first talk to our newbies and get the first impressions out of the way. Nicole, you begged and pleaded that you can go first, so go for it.
Mainly because my phone's going to die, and that's where I have my notes. So,
Okay.
yeah, this was a pretty interesting episode. I really liked that we got
got to learn more about the Trills and the symbionts and the process and, you know, all that stuff. Shout out to the Arbiter from Liar Liar and Mrs. Doubtfire. I recognized her, so that was cool. I'm sure she's been in other sci-fi stuff, but I don't know anything about that. So I was very excited when I finally recognized a guest appearance. So that never happens because, again, I don't know the genre. I thought Bashir kind of stepped it up in this one a little bit. I thought his flirting game got a little bit better in the very beginning. And I really thought it was sweet that he tried to help her and like fought with that guy and stuff like that. So I'm starting to, you know, I liked him, but I'm starting to like him a little bit more. I really liked how Cisco was so convicted to like defend Dax and was really trying everything that he could think of out of any playbook he could find to help Dax. And I thought it was really noble of Dax to keep a promise that Curzon made, even though she didn't have to. She didn't know this person. It just shows who she is. So also, she's fucking smart. She's got 1 billion degrees before she even became the symbiont.
Shannon, what do you got?
I really enjoyed the judge. I mean, Madam Arbiter. Can't say that word. I'm going to call her the judge.
First of all, you are disrespecting the Jessica Tandy. She was from Short Circuit. So let's be very clear. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. Sorry.
Was she from
I
Short Circuit?
didn't recognize her, and I didn't want to look her up and get in trouble. I was trying to be a good newbie.
She was on.
But I loved her no nonsense attitude, the way she just like commanded everyone, and she was my favorite part of the whole episode. And I think Nicole had some good points learning more about the Trill, of course, and I can complain about the Doctor later. But I thought it was a good episode. My first impressions were interesting, and Odo is always finding clues like a super spy. Like, oh, by the way, I'm really liking him more and more.
Jessi, first impressions.
Sorry, I think she was in Batteries Not Included instead of Short
I'm
Circuit.
not ready to say she was not in Short Circuit at all.
Whatever, same fucking thing. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm gonna throw it out there. Short Circuit 2 is a better movie.
I literally, okay, well, I haven't seen that. And it's been, no, I think she was, no, it was Batteries. Okay, moving on.
The one with the little UFOs.
Yeah, so I saw her and I was like, oh, it's Jessica Tandy. And then I had to ask my mom if it was Jessica Tandy, so I didn't make myself look like a fucking dumbass on the podcast.
And you still did, because
It's not Jessica Tandy.
No, it is Jessica Tandy.
It's absolutely not.
No, what's her name?
It is not. It is not.
It's
Definitely
Anne
not.
something.
Fionnuala Flanagan or something.
Isn't
it?
Anne?
Or am I
Okay,
thinking
so
of a
it's
different-
not crazy that I
Oh,
did
no, that
not
was
know
the
her name
wife.
immediately. Let's establish I was right from the
You
beginning.
might have been right. I
Anne
don't.
Haney. You were right about Mrs. Doubtfire, but
Yeah.
not Jessica
I didn't
Tandy.
say that wasn't me. I was totally wrong, and that's not Jessica Tandy apparently. All right, now that I've looked her up, we're doing great. Can you just? Yep.
no, I'm not editing this at all.
Was she in Batteries Not Included?
I did not.
This alternate
Keep
freaking
rolling.
timeline that I'm on, I don't like it.
Oh my
What?
god.
Okay.
No, she was not. She was not in Batteries Not Included.
Okay, God damn it. All right, well,
Nor Short
I will
Circuit for that matter.
come back to you next week with where the fuck I think I thought I saw her. So let's move on. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I don't like the way this is going.
The episode
I
or your
think-
memory?
Everything. Like the
Ain't
fact
no los
that
dos.
I feel like I knew that there was a cornucopia on the Fruit of the Loom logo, and clearly there was never one. So alternate timeline for the
Join
win.
us next week as we discuss the Mandela effect.
Okay, back to the episode, the things that really matter. I like this episode. I was kind of irritated with Dax about why she wasn't saying anything. And the second that she's like, how is he? I'm like, oh, they were fucking. There was an affair. And then I called that I thought that maybe she had killed him and was covering for him, but we had to go back to the first affair theory that was actually correct. So I liked it. It was fun. I watched it twice because I watched it once last week and then I watched it again today. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Christopher.
So I thought this was an enjoyable episode, if not good, but I enjoyed it. I did like that the conflict came from something else other than just, things blowing up. This was more of a courtroom drama, and I kind of like that. I also do like that you started to get to know the characters a little bit more, because that's been my complaint, is that it's been relying heavily on guest stars and previous Trek appearances. And so I thought that this was a good episode where you didn't have any of that. It was a little telegraphed as soon as you found out that the widow was still alive. It was like, oh, she knows what really happened. They're gonna find your way out of it somehow through her. And for me, it kind of took the suspense out of it, but I wanted to see how it happened. But Nicole, I have to disagree with you about Bashir and his
Shots fired.
flirtation skills. He's a creep. Okay, I knew that I liked him at first, and I was like, he's my favorite character. No, this guy is a creep. He asks Dax if if he can walk her back to her quarters. And she says, not necessary. She walks away and he says, not necessary, but not forbidden either. Creepy as hell. Okay. The giant red flag here. This guy.
I meant the part before that was a little smoother, but yeah, you're right.
I do also like the fact that Tandro really just used Bashir's narcissism against him as well. It's like, so you can't read the brainwaves of the Dax symbiote, can you? Oh yeah, I can. Oh, oops.
Yeah, and he walked right into that too. But I don't think that it was like the slam dunk that he thought it was, that Tandro thought it was, because he asked him if there was any evidence, and he said no, there was no evidence.
Let's go to our folks who have watched every single episode, and Emily, first impression.
It's a Dax episode, so what's not to love? And I do appreciate that we get a better indication of who she is as a person and a little more on how the symbionts work, since Bashir described like the joining and stuff. Yeah, it's good. I like it. I always like it.
Emily approved. Prentice.
It is.
First impressions.
First impressions, great world building episode about Dax, is getting to know her character. You start to see how the series does that well, about getting in depth and understanding who these people are. Terry Farrell, once again, doing a great job being a little bit more mature in this episode, a little bit more serious. You see her acting skills coming out, so I appreciate that. And we have the appearance of one of the great villains of 24, Jor Itness. He is in this series as the guy that tried to kidnap Dax at the beginning of the episode. If you remember who he is in 24, he's the evil President Charles Logan in 24. So it was good to see him in his track days. I know he's done some other episodes of track later on. And I didn't realize this is the last episode that was written by DC Fontana, the late great DC Fontana, one of the best female science fiction writers of the 20th century. So it was good to see this is her work. And then last but not least, I had no idea that David Carson directed this episode. He would go on to direct Star Trek Generation. Whether or not you like that movie, that's, personal preference. I like the movie, but it was good to see him directing this episode as well. But as it is, compared to other Deep Space Nine's episodes, it's a good episode for the first season. It's a decent episode for the first season.
Mike, first impressions.
Yeah, it's a pretty good episode. To me, I'm a little bit hindered by the fact that I didn't necessarily feel as though Dax's behavior made so much sense in terms of what was happening. I know what they were going for. I just felt like it came off kind of weird. But besides that, I thought this was one of those good episodes, and it reminded me a lot of what we just watched in Babylon 5 not too long ago, where you had an episode that was kind of centered around not just introducing some characters and concepts, but also throwing a premise at you that was meant to be challenging to the viewer from a thinking perspective. And I really enjoyed that, although, whereas I feel like some of the B5 stuff did a little bit better job. And I mean, and there are Trek episodes that do a better job at this too, but where they do a little bit better job of giving you a premise that is, shall we say, more grounded in reality. This one was a little bit more out there. There's nothing about this that really directly translates to the real world necessarily, because nobody has a worm living inside them except RFK. Sorry, I said living. Overall, though, it was pretty good. Like I said, I didn't find it necessarily the most exciting. I still didn't really like how they handled Bashir in this one. But overall, Terry Farrell did a great job, and it was fun to get to know the Dax character a little bit more. So good season 1 episode.
This is one of the best season 1 episodes in my opinion, and I think the showrunners and writers agreed with that too. Robert Hewitt Wolf said that this is when the show started firing on all cylinders. And Christopher, I agree with you. Your complaint has been too many TNG crossover characters. Well, they even off-screen brushed O'Brien to the side this time. It's like, go away. And Prentice, you already brought up DC Fontana. She truly was a pioneer in sci-fi and TV. She started out as a secretary and worked her way up to being a writer. And she wrote, and I'm just going to list her credits because in Star Trek, she's pretty prolific. So in the original series, she did Charlie X, Tomorrow is Yesterday, This Side of Paradise, Friday's Child, Journey to Babel, By Any Other Name, The Ultimate Computer, The Enterprise Incident, That Which Survives, The Way to Eden, probably the best animated series episode, Yesteryear. And then on TNG, she wrote Encounter at Farpoint, the premiere episode, which Christopher loved. The Naked Now, Lonely Among Us, Too Short a Season, Heart of Glory. This was her last credit for Star Trek, but she has also been prolific in other things as well too. So she was awesome, and she really kind of kept Star Trek on the rails for a long time, especially in the first part of TNG. I also want to give a little bit of a shout out to the one person that hasn't been mentioned yet. Nana Visitor in this episode is freaking amazing. I love the facial looks that she gives. And when she takes over for Cisco and Cisco just stands behind her and is like, you're talking to my first officer now. I was like, yes, this is a dynamic that we haven't had really, maybe in original series with Spock and Kirk and McCoy, but TNG, we didn't have this, where it was always Picard and Riker was off doing the away missions, being the action hero.
And screwing things.
Especially when he grew the beard. But with this, Cisco is really showing that he has faith and trust in Kira, and he's showing that even though she isn't a member of Starfleet, she has the ability to take the reins of this thing too. And I do like that a lot. So yeah, I just think this is a great character piece that we get to see a whole bunch of people we are getting to know as we go. Where do you guys want to talk first?
So I thought how you said that this is the only episode of Trek that is named after a character, that I thought that Terry Farrell was going to have a little bit more to do with this episode. She was kind of in the background, and I had a bit of a problem with this episode because I found it, and this is where I'm going to piss some people off, and so they can at me at Christopher DS9 Pod on Blue Sky and YouTube.
See, he's a liberal asshole. He's on Blue Sky.
This episode was a little bit sexist, and just in the way that they kind of treated Dax, like she was like kind of like this porcelain doll who had to be protected, and Cisco was coming in kind of like on his high horse to protect her, and Bashir, the chauvinism there where he followed her anyway. Another Bashir moment is that he noticed that he's fighting a woman and he just stops, and then she punches him and just knocks him the fuck out, and I thought that was great. It was subtle, but it was there. It might not have necessarily been the most sexist, but it was kind of patronizing because they were trying to be like chivalrous, but it's just an outdated mode.
Jessi,
do I need to wait until at you at Blue Sky, or can I say it now?
Say it now.
If you're not going to, I am, because he's dead wrong. But go ahead.
I'm the first one to say that I can't handle when people think that women need to be protected and they need to be like, coddled and this, that, and the other. But I missed all of that if that was the case, because I didn't see it like that. The provider, I've had a conversation about this a lot in the past, like the last couple of months, about men being providers by nature. Some men are, some men aren't. And when she was like, you don't have to, and he's like, I don't have to, but I will. It just, to me, it said that like he wanted her to get home safe. Not that I think that anything's going to happen to her on the station or wherever they are, but I guess it did, right? Like it's a good thing he did. I just didn't see it like that. Like I saw him protecting his friend. It wasn't about Dax, the woman. It was about the person inside of Dax that he knew prior to that. So like, in my opinion, I don't know. I mean, I can see how you saw it like that, but I just didn't, I don't know. I don't see it as a bad thing that he was like, hey, I'm going to go make sure she gets home or whatever. I don't know. He's a weirdo anyway. He can't flirt, doesn't know how to like do any of that stuff. So it was very strange to see, but I didn't get the like creeper vibe or like I have to treat her like a delicate little flower vibe at all.
To me, she was clearly telling him no. He was flirting with her. She was clearly uninterested because she kept, referencing everything else besides responding to whatever he was saying. And he asked to walk her home. She said, that's not necessary, Julian. And then he waited for her to leave and said, well, not necessary, but he did it anyway. And that was just, he wasn't listening to her and he wasn't respecting her. Another point, they had an expert on the trill. So they literally brought a man in to explain what it means to be a trill when they could have just asked Dax all the same questions. And he didn't interact with Dax at all in the episode. He had no interaction with her, but he was a representative from the Trillian government.
Have you ever been in court?
And he doesn't interact with who he's supposed to be there to represent.
Do a lot of snake milkers go to court, Jessi?
Yeah, no, probably not. But I've been sued by snake people lots of times in my life, and they don't take my advice or my opinion on something. They bring an expert in and they say that they'll bring a doctor in and say, hey, this person such and such. But my thing is this, they're never going to ask the individual on trial, which she wasn't even on trial. It was like
extradition.
It was just like they're going to take her away, but they're not going to ask her for her expertise, even though, yes, she is a trill and she could absolutely speak on it. But what made him even more of an expert than her. I mean, he had been through it more, maybe. I don't know. That to me didn't stick out because I do see why they did that. And if it had been a woman, would you have blinked at it? Would you have thought anything different about it? I don't know.
But that's the point, is that they brought a man in.
What if they would have brought a woman in? Would you have been upset about it?
No, but that's the point, is that they brought a man in to explain something that Dax could have easily explained.
They're not going to ask Dax. Did you just listen to anything I
It was
said?
a plot device for me.
Okay,
was
go to
that
your
they
respective
brought him in.
corners. Go to your respective corners. Shannon has something to say, and then I'm going to tell Christopher why he's wrong.
Oh, he's super
I
wrong.
was just going to say, I do agree that the doctor's actions were beyond creepy this time. It wasn't smooth. In fact, it almost works better when he kind of bumbles a little bit and it'd be like, maybe we can like hang out sometime. But then this time saying, I have better ways to keep you up when she's clearly not interested and then following her home. Yes, that was creepy. But also, if we're just talking about how you feel Dax might have been treated differently because he is currently in a female form and is a woman, I thought it was interesting that later on when she's with the captain and he is so frustrated with her and he was like, I wish you were a man so I could punch you. I didn't like that either, just because why would it be okay for him to punch somebody just because he is a guy? And I thought that was inappropriate too.
It's another part of where this code of honor that men are brought up to, that you don't hit women, and it's this you know, it goes to the code of chivalry, which none of the things that happen that deal with women were put in by the Victorians. They weren't put there by the you know, in the original code. The original code was just lifting your shield on your face mask on your helmet so that the other knights could see you, right? So all the stuff that we think is chivalrous, opening the door, that sort of thing, was added by, you know, prudish Victorians who thought that that women could not stand up for themselves.
I have so many thoughts, but I'm going to be chivalrous, and there's two women who want to speak first. Jessi, what do you got?
I have never had anybody accuse me of not being able to stand up for myself. And in fact, here's why I think that you feel similar, but your wife is a very strong, independent woman. And Mariano is also married to a very strong, independent woman. And the things that he does for me, I allow him to do, like warming up my car. It's going to get my oil changed. Those aren't things that he does because he thinks that I can't provide for myself. He does those things because he wants me to be comfortable, and I appreciate it. And in return, I do other things not to yell at him about. I'm just joking. But like I absolutely understand where it came from, but that's like, you're 100% right here. This is not a chivalry thing. I thought you were talking about like the episode in general with the captain like going hard for Dax because of the friend that was in her before. But as far as the doctor thing, yeah, you're right. It was weird and creepy. And when you describe it in that way, I can absolutely understand. But plot, right? Like that just to me just seems like it's a plot thing. Because I'll tell you right now, if I told somebody I wasn't interested and told them that they didn't walk me home or need to walk me home and they did, him and I would probably be in it. Like that's weird and creepy. So I absolutely agree with you in that aspect. But like the whole, like the rest of the episode, take the creepy doctor out, and look at like the way that the captain went so hard for her. And I just saw it as like I didn't see it as it had anything to do with women. But I mean, I can see your point as to why it could.
Nicole.
So coming from another independent, strong woman, it's interesting because women like us, we do a lot for ourselves, right? Or we always have. It's hard for us to let people do things for us, man or woman. Like, and I know, Jessi, I don't want to speak for you, but you probably would agree that it's hard to ask for help sometimes.
Absolutely.
And it's so when I started living with my fiance and we were together, he would like want to pay for something for me or buy me this or do things for me. And it was an adjustment because I didn't think he was doing it because he thought less of me. He was doing it because he cares. But I do a lot of stuff for him too. Like I make his doctor appointments because he doesn't like talking on the phone to people. And that's fine. But he does my laundry because I don't want to go down the stairs, So it's like we do things for each other because we love each other. It's more of a respectful thing. When it comes to chivalry, I get what you were saying, Chris. It's kind of a social construct in a way, like a lot of things. I don't see a dude hitting a chick as not hitting a chick as chivalrous. You just don't do that. And if you do that, you're gonna fucking get it. You know what I'm saying?
But
like
she was attacking him.
No. I'm talking about the Cisco thing. Like when he said, if you were a guy, I would hit you, but he didn't because he respects her and he would never hit a woman, right? So I didn't find that to be offensive because the thing is like if he did punch her in the face, he would have had hell to pay. And I promise you this, like I'm not looking for a fight, but if you come at me, I don't care if you're a man, woman, dog, alien. If you put your hands on me, it ain't gonna be me. It's gonna be you. You know what I'm saying? But I just think that he wouldn't have done that because it's his code of ethics and moral. And I don't think that and chivalry are on the same level. You're not going to go get off this podcast and go beat your wives. You know what I mean? And if you did, then I'm coming for you with
Well,
a
maybe
frying
you're
pan.
not.
Yeah.
Anna is gonna whoop his ass if that's the case, just so
Right.
we're all aware.
And also, too, just one more funny little thing. Like, have you guys never flirted with somebody, even if you knew they weren't into it, because it's funny and playful? That's what I got from Bashir. I didn't get creepy and like pervert vibes. I got like he was being playful and like, I mean, I can tell you a 20-something-year-old me has shooted my shot millions of times and flirted with guys and said things, and it went nowhere, but I did it anyways, you know? So
But he's done this in multiple episodes where he's flirted with Dax on multiple occasions, and she's clearly shown that she's not interested, and he keeps doing it. And
it's one thing if you go up to someone at the club or whatever at the holodeck and you shoot your shot with that person. If he's gonna try, like, at least make it good or sweet, not like he's trying to just bang her this one night and keep her up or whatever. Like, he's going about it the whole wrong way.
Is the horse dead yet? Because you guys keep beating it. Is it dead?
It might be. I don't know. Should I hit it again?
No, it needs to be hit a couple more times.
Hey, listen, I missed
Please.
half the conversation because I was dealing with my cat. So
I was just going to say that I don't flirt anymore because wokeness has ruined that for me.
I just want to go back to where Star Trek wasn't woke. That's what I want.
Have I sufficiently brought down our ratings yet? Do you want me to leave again?
No, Christopher does that, not you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me tell
what
you,
I'm here for.
I don't give a shit about the Bashir thing. He's aloof and whatever. I don't care. The whole idea that Jadzia was coddled through this episode is completely 100% I disagree with, because she was showing a great deal of strength the entire episode. The reason why people had to speak for her is because she refused to speak. She refused to throw her Curzon's former lover under the bus. And as we find out at the end of the episode, it wasn't just that they had an affair, it's that the general was a traitor himself. The general was turning state secrets over to the rebels, and the rebels killed him for it. So Jadzia is being quiet because she feels that her honor and the honor of the people she cares about, or that Curzon cared about, is more important than defending herself around. So yeah, Cisco's talking on her behalf. Yeah, Kira is having to do things on her behalf, and Bashir is Bashir. But it's because she's showing strength. It's not like, oh, the little lady can't speak for herself. She doesn't want to speak, Nicole.
you really learned a lot about her character, even though it wasn't her secret to keep, even though it happened before, not with her, with a previous, I guess, symbiont being.
The host.
The host. She still had enough respect and, what's the word I'm looking for? Reserve, I guess, to just not share those secrets. And she even said to the lady at the end, I know your people look at him like a hero, and I didn't want to ruin that, you know? And I thought it was really touching at the very end with the moment with her and the woman together when they were talking. And she was like, go live your young, fresh, beautiful life and long life, and like put her hand on her cheek. It made me a little emotional in a way. I know that sounds kind of stupid because, you know, but I'm the emotional one. So, but it made me like kind of feel a little pang of like, wow, like it just kind of doubled down on the person that she is, that Dax is. Strong, respectful, smart. I thought it was a really beautiful moment, and I thought it was a really great way to end the show and end the episode. And it was kind of nice for them to have that moment. And I also, the widow, I forget her name, I also feel like she kind of got to say goodbye to her previous lover in a way. The memories were still in there.
Jessi.
Don't have an affair with me and expect me to cover for you, because I'm going to tell on you all day long. I'm not dying for anybody. I don't care unless it's my mom. And clearly that was not his mother. I am watching and I'm like, listen, I respect all of that, but I also work with people who snitch for a living. So everybody tells on somebody, and I don't care if you say you do or not. So I'm not going to be that person. You are not going to accuse me of treason and murder if I didn't do it. And I'm not covering because somebody's wife was my girlfriend. So just keep that in mind next time you want to have an affair with me.
Noted.
She's gonna tell my husband. I see how it is.
Again, though, it wasn't just that she was covering for her lover. It was that she was covering for the general who became the hero of this group. And if it came out that he was selling state secrets to the other side, that would be a lot of bad things happening. So she was doing a lot more than just for the lover.
He's dead. Fuck off. I don't care. I'm not going to try to save your... He was a traitor. And so I'm not going to...
She was going to die. Like, she was facing the death penalty. Like,
why was she facing the death penalty?
Dax.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. If I was Dax, I'm not fucking doing it. And I don't care about your little cute fucking, you know, how everybody thought about you. I don't care. I'm not putting a fucking trophy up for you if you were a traitor. And I'm sure shit not going to cover for for you if you were selling state secrets, that you weren't a good person. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
For those taking notes, Jessi also doesn't give a shit about anything. Prentice, what do you got?
I do not.
I know.
All I was going to say is that I appreciate the loyalty there. There's not a lot of people that are willing to die for another individual, right? So I was like, okay, this person's willing to stand on business and say, basically, I'm going to shut up. I'm not going to defend myself. I respect this person so much. I'm willing to give my life for this. And the belief that if I die with this knowledge, I will protect the memory of this legendary figure in this culture. That's the level of loyalty you don't see in most people. It could be considered foolish, but I will say that the way she represented was a certain level of honor and dignity that she lent to that portrayal of how she wanted to protect the legacy of a long lost lover.
But it's a reputation built on lies, and she knew that it was built on lies.
What I'm saying, I'm not sticking up for somebody that's a shitbag. Like, this guy is, made out to be Obama, but he's Hitler. No, we're not doing that. Like, that's weird.
Some people would say Obama is Hitler. You can send your messages to Christopher at Blue Sky.
Please do. But no, and I agree. That's exactly what I was gonna say was like, yes, if my mom needed me to do something very weird for her, I probably would, because I know that at the end of the day, my mom is gonna have my back no matter what. Somebody that had an affair with me, however many, clearly they didn't even talk because she didn't even know he was dead. And I don't care about your freaking what they thought about you. What is it called? My brain has stopped working. Your
reputation.
Your reputation. Thank you. That's a very good word. I don't care about your reputation. I really don't. And especially if you were a bad person. If you're a bad person, you're a bad person, and you don't get the benefits of good person behavior.
Shannon, would you like to beat the horse some more?
Yes.
I just wanted to say, I wonder if the reason she held back a little more was because of a trill, that mindset that you protect the previous part, the previous host, the symbiote, whatever. But what I wanted to actually ask is if we could maybe briefly touch on the very beginning when Odo was convincing Quark to let him use his bar for the meeting space. That was a really fun scene.
So, fun story on that. The reason why that scene is in there is because they didn't have the budget to build another set. So they're like, we got to use the bar. But you're right. I mean, it's a great scene with Quark and Odo, but it just came about because we got to use the bar for this set because we don't have enough money.
It was my favorite quote that no, it's just business, and business is business. And the way he looked at Quark, you have stated before that he worked on the station with the Cardassians, and that he had a reputation of not being so lovely. And he's
so lovely now,
and you can see it there. Like he knows he's blackmailing Quark. He knows that he's just doing whatever he has to do to get his way, and he doesn't care.
Nicole,
also want to just shout out the creativity of all the loopholes that Cisco just kept finding about how they're on Bajorn and Bajorn don't have the treaty with you. Oh, and then how can you prove that this is every turn around the corner, there's a new loophole or a new thing. I was like, damn, this is creativity at its finest. I felt almost like it was a roller coaster ride of what are they going to come up with next? What are they going to pull out of the playbook next? So I thought that was pretty great writing, actually.
Yeah, the other two things I want to hit on, one is Odo. I love the fact that Odo, a lot of his scenes in the past few episodes have been up front and center, but there's also been scenes where he's in the background, watching, listening, and Renee Auberjonois does such a great job of being a part of the scene and being a part of it. And the other person that did the same thing was, again, Terry Farrell, because, again, she didn't have much to say, but her emotions and her pride of her friends, including Bashir, and just watching the entire court case and not having lines, but being able to show us exactly what she's thinking, exactly what she's feeling. And again, I've hit on it before, and it was hit on this episode. This is a 28-year-old actress who is really rocking this character.
When she was on screen, she was powerful. I would have liked to have the episode feature her more if it's going to be named after her.
She was on screen more than Keiko, who got written off in the first 5 seconds of the show. To be clear, she wasn't written off. Keiko will return. Keiko will live. It's okay. Spoiler. Keiko will live. Anyone else got anything they want to add? I didn't expect us to go down the Bashir's a creep route for so long, but here we are.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, like it was described, he is. You know what I mean? And that's just not as a woman, I get hit on, not now.
Hey.
I used to get hit on a lot, and I didn't even like guys don't take no for an answer. So that was exactly what some guys don't at me. I don't care.
She deserves to be in the kitchen, folks. Reminder.
Yeah. Some guys don't take
That's
no
a
for an
joke
answer.
from the last podcast. I don't mean that. It was
he
from the
does.
last podcast.
Keeps telling me I need to cook something, but no, I just definitely I didn't even think twice about it when I saw it because I was like, that's par for the course, guys. Some guys don't take no, but when you think about it, he was a creep because like if I tell you don't follow me and you follow me, you and I have a problem.
I'm seeing a pattern here. We didn't like Dr. Franklin and we don't like Dr. Bashir.
I'm the only one who liked both.
I liked Dr. Bashir at the beginning, but this particularly right now, this did not show him in a good light.
Yeah, and there are so many things we'll discuss down the road, but Bashir is just an awkward young guy, and I give him a lot of space for that. And again, if Jadzia had said, leave me alone, that's one thing, but she's just a colleague that gets followed home, which is kind of weird, but it's okay.
So you have to be explicit in
No,
what you
oh my
say?
God, no.
I'm just asking because...
That's one of those guys.
Oh, am I? God damn.
Just kidding.
I don't know, I'd just turn around and deck a dude if I didn't want him following me.
Yeah,
I
Nicole
mean,
hit me like 20 years ago. It was fine.
Yeah, it's fine. He survived.
God damn. Shannon, save us.
I was just going to say my favorite quote from this episode was from the Arbiter when she said, justice must be tempered with understanding, informed, not rioted. And I thought that was really powerful, and I like that quote.
She turns around later and says, I said it was going to be informal, not riotous. And they...
Yeah, she was like one of my favorite parts.
That character, Renora, she just has a lot of zingers. She's like the cranky old grandma who's 100 years old.
She looks good for 100.
She does. She's got the little Bajoran thing going. She's fun. Shannon, I'll see your quote and raise you my favorite quote from the Arbiter. This will be an informal hearing, so I'm going to start with some informal advice. I am 100 years old. I do not have time to squander listening to subterfuge language. In short, I intend being here for supper, not senility.
That was my favorite quote as well.
And to be fair, Franklin was problematic for a whole set of other reasons. Like he was dating people he shouldn't have been dating.
Yes.
She's just hitting on somebody that has yet to just stand up and say, shut the fuck up and leave me alone.
Bashir's-
Dax doesn't strike me as the type of person that's not going to put him in his place if she has to.
Bashir is awkward. Franklin was unethical.
Exactly.
Anything else we want to discuss?
I kind of want to discuss how the way that they describe the Trill and how, you have the memories of the past, but they're a different person, a different entity. They have different, brain waves. They have when they are joined that they're, they can't live separately after 93 hours. And it kind of, to me, it brought to mind like reincarnation, right? You live these different lives and maybe you remember them, maybe you don't. But for the Trill, they remember them. But when are you not that person anymore? Is it at death or is it at, some other point? And I think, to me, it was poignant when she said that was Kurasan. I'm, not me.
I'm chuckling here because you have mispronounced Curzon's name so many ways today.
Oh.
It's actually been entertaining. I like it.
It's been a different pronunciation every time.
Curzon.
Figure it out before the next episode or they will come for you.
Curzon. Yes. Before this is all said and done, we'll make you list out all of Dax's hosts. It'll be fun.
Great. And I'll fuck up all their names.
Yes, probably.
Anybody else got anything before we go into questions and prediction? Okay, let's do that. So for those who are just joining us for the first time and haven't rage quit for one reason or another by now, we have our newbies ask questions about anything that may come up or maybe lingering after this episode and predict what may happen next because they have not watched anything past this episode. So let's go because she was, again, all feisty on Pick Me First. Nicole, questions, predictions.
I don't think I have any questions or predictions. I am curious to see if we're gonna see any more of the Arbiter in any other episodes or anything else, because I think that would be cool.
She's gonna take that gavel up somebody's head.
Yeah, that was a weird gavel.
Jessi, what do you got?
Was the asshole that came to steal Dax actually Dax's other half's kid?
I don't think so. I mean, it's not. I mean, Jadzia says you have an overactive imagination. So
right, but she also lied about an affair for lots and lots of years. So
that's true.
I mean, if somebody says, "Hey, do I have a warrant I say no.
That's true.
That's probably not the truth.
There's no spots. The Trill have spots.
So they have to, what if they're half Trill?
I don't know.
Okay.
Then they
Is
have
there a
half
list?
spots.
Here's my next question. I guess I've just found this out. Is there a list like there was on Babylon 5 where you can't, one race can't mix with another race?
No, that's
or
actually.
I'm sorry, species can't mix with another species.
Stick
There
to the
we go.
list. Yeah.
Don't make me sound like, don't cancel me. I didn't mean that.
That was actually a jab by Babylon 5 at Star Trek, because Star Trek doesn't deal with like the species having problems with, interbreeding. Like there's a whole bunch of, Spock, one of the most important characters and first characters in Star Trek, was half human, half Vulcan. So B5 was saying, we ain't Star Trek, so species, eat each other rather than mate.
Do we have Vulcans in this one?
Did we see a Vulcan yet? No, I can't remember.
I don't think we have.
Vulcans are here. They exist. They're part of the Federation.
Saw it in the first episode with the
we did an emissary.
The emissary, yeah.
Yeah, it was the flashback on the Saratoga. The first officer or the captain was a Vulcan. Yes, thank you.
Do they look like humans?
Yeah, they got pointed ears. They look like Spock.
Okay. Like Spock.
Yeah. Spock's a Vulcan.
I know one Spock. I know a Spock. Okay.
I know a Spock. He's a good friend of mine.
I've seen a Star Wars and I know a Spock.
There's a shirt right there.
Damn it. I've not been keeping quotes this episode. That makes me mad.
For those on our Facebook, we need a meme that's I've seen a Star Wars and I know a Spock. Help us out.
I love it. And no, I don't have any predictions. I don't care enough right now.
Don't care.
Nice.
I will. I'm not there yet.
Shannon, question prediction.
I think that learning more about the Trill and their post-symbiote relationship is really intriguing. I hope we get to do a little bit more about that. She seems extra zen and calm, and I wonder if that's how they all are, or is that just how she is? She just like really cool and calm this entire episode, even though she was looking at very serious penalties. And so I just found that interesting. I don't have any predictions at the time.
Christopher.
I think that Dax and Commander Sisko's relationship is going to have to change. He's going to have to stop looking at Dax as a mentor and start looking at Dax as more of a friend, because Jadzia is not the same person.
And I actually think you kind of saw that here. He has that one line, I'm just now getting to learn about this young woman. And so I think you're seeing that. We'll see. The one thing I forgot to mention, and I just thought about because we were talking about the Federation and Vulcans. Is it interesting to anybody that the Federation just lets an extradition treaty exist that says you can go kill people? That's fine. And you can also steal them from our stations.
Yeah, that how do you not present the commander at first? Like a unilateral extradition treaty where they can just go in and kidnap somebody?
I knew
bullshit.
the Federation was a bunch of
you
pansies.
Just have to go in and you have to at least tell somebody. You have to alert them that they're coming onto the station. I would think at the bare minimum.
Apparently not in the Federation. You can just kidnap people and extradite them.
But no, I think there was a reason that they were afraid that they did it that way, because they were
concerned about the Bajorans. Yeah. What are they, ICE or something? Just swooping in and stealing people? Haha! You can send Christopher a message on Blue Sky about that too.
That's Christopher DS9 Pod on Blue Sky.
I thought I heard screaming in the background. Sorry.
Nope, that's at your house. Look behind you now.
Oh my gosh.
Read the room.
Can we have your address just in case you get kidnapped?
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Jessi doesn't say is actually she's the one planning kidnapping you.
There's worse people that could kidnap me.
Right? I don't know. Nicole would give me too much of a fight. I want an easy target from everybody.
Look, you got my address.
Emily volunteers as tribute.
I've been to Emily's house, so I know where the door is.
It's fine. I still have
It's
Emily's
fine.
Christmas present here. One of these days I'll get it to you. There it is. It's
Awesome.
Shrek paper.
I'm excited.
Okay, we'll go ahead and end it there for our newbies. We'll come back next week when we discuss the next episode, which is The Passenger. Be careful on this. Is another one of those season 1 episodes where it was actually not the one created first. So if you watch Netflix, they're out of order. But on Paramount Plus and release order, The Passenger is next, and that's the one we're going to talk about next. So we will be back for spoilers after this. But until next week when we discuss The Passenger, I've been Scott, and with me is
Christopher,
Shannon,
It's Nicole.
I will insert Mike's name here.
Jessi.
Prentice.
Okay, newbies, be gone. Go kidnap Nicole.
I'm going
Everybody
to bed.
listening to us from another country, don't judge us. We're not doing this on purpose. It's not us.
Yeah, right.
We didn't do it.
We tried. We really did.
We tried. We're sorry, Canada. We tried.
Bye, guys.
they should not accept our apology.
No, I wouldn't either.
Where's the leave?
Thank you for listening to Especially the Lies, a Deep Space Nine podcast. You can find all the places to listen to and watch this podcast by searching for Especially the Lies on your podcast app or on YouTube. We want to hear from you, so join the conversation at Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review where you are listening to or watching this podcast. Especially the Lies is not affiliated with, and the podcast has not been prepared, approved, or licensed by Paramount or any other owners of the Star Trek copyright. All clips included in this podcast are the intellectual property of the respected copyright holders. They are included here for purposes of review, and no infringement is intended.
Why have you brought me here? Show yourselves. What do you want?
The Cisco has returned to us. He arrives with questions.
There are always questions.
Welcome back to Beyond the Wormhole. That still sounds a little
filthy,
interesting, but we are the folks who have already watched all the shows. So if you have not, or you forgot what comes next, this is where you should jump off, because we will talk some spoilers here. Mike is dealing with a kid who may or may not be losing their stomach in the toilet, so he'll be back if he can. But let's start running through the questions, guys.
Okay, so Nicole didn't have anything.
Except for she wanted to be kidnapped.
No, that was me. I want to be kidnapped.
Oh, you're right. She did not want to be kidnapped. You,
as long as I get put someplace quiet with a stack of books, I'll be fine. I just need coffee and books. I'm good.
I want to point out to everyone listening, that's not consent.
Jessi questioned if Tandra was Curzon's son, which I thought was an interesting question.
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? I already gave my response.
I don't have reason to think he is.
I kind of thought he was. When he said it in the beginning, I kind of got the impression, but I wasn't quite sure. After watching it years later, I thought he was. So that was my impression.
Yeah. I did forget the twist at the end, and again, blink and you miss it, but I was sitting here the entire time trying to remember, okay, how does this end? I mean, I know Dax is okay, but what actually happened to the general? And I was like, oh yeah, he was the asshole who got himself killed. Okay.
Right. Yeah. I do think it's an interesting question because I never considered Tandro as like Curzon's son and that feeding into some of that anger. Or if he somehow suspected Curzon of the affair and that was another...
Well, he doesn't, though. That's the whole point. He doesn't know about the affair until his mom shows up. What his mom says before is that, like any son who lost a father before they knew him,
too young,
he's obsessed with the loss of his father, and so that's what he's dealing with. So I think Tandra really does think that the general was his father, and I have no reason to doubt it.
Yeah. And we also don't know what kind of like rumors might have been said while he was growing up. So he might have overheard some unsavory things about Curzon specifically, not so much his dad.
I don't think anyone knew. I mean, even he said we didn't even know Curzon was a suspect until they opened up the military files. I don't think anyone had any clue that there was an affair going on, but who knows?
You never know. I did like your question about if there's a list about interspecies mating, because that would be hilarious, and Riker would be the one to know.
No, but later on we do see that Bashir is working with Dax, Jadzia, to mate with Worf, because he's trying to make sure that works, but that's down the road a little bit.
Yeah, that's quite a ways away.
Doesn't Jadzia finds out that she can have a kid with Worf and then immediately gets killed? Because that's just rough.
Pretty much.
Yeah, she like no, because she's praying to the prophets about it, and then Dukat walks in. God, we're gonna have some talks in season 6.
Oh God, season 6 might get really, really rough. Shannon asked if we were gonna learn more about the Trill, which I think was a really good question. And I was surprised no one brought up the entire point of the episode of if a host and a symbiont murder somebody, like the repercussions and how do you parse that out? Do you punish a new host? Do you punish the like, I thought that would come up and it doesn't, which I'm glad because, you know, in a few seasons we find out that one of the hosts was a murderer and
yeah, you know, and I'm watching this now. I'm guessing that the writers didn't know that at this time, but
right,
you know, they kind of allude to it a little bit too. That even I can't remember what she says, but Jessi even says, you know, I can't remember what she said, so I won't misquote it. But there's an allusion to the fact that there could be a criminal in her background.
Yeah, and yeah, because she does mention that when you sign up, you acknowledge that you're taking on the responsibility of previous actions of like the symbiont.
And one of the Dex hosts was a serial killer. So cool.
Was he a serial killer or just murdered the one dude?
I thought he was a serial killer. Oh wait, no. Esri deals with the sniper serial killer.
Yes,
that's okay. I'm mixing my Daxes. My Dax.
And she uses the killer in Dax's.
Yeah, she goes back and gets what's his name? Jay something. I'm sure everyone will comment on YouTube and say how stupid we are. Go ahead.
I know, but I've had half a bottle of wine and it's been a shit week, so my brain's not working.
Excellent. She's drinking out of a sippy cup, folks.
No, that's my water. Gotta stay hydrated when you drink wine at this age, because otherwise headaches happen.
Since Emily said that Christopher's not on here, so we can say what we want, I do want to point out that for one of Christopher's birthday, we went out and got him a sippy cup that attaches around his neck, because it was needed at the time. Love you, Christopher. When you listen to this 7 years from now.
Wait a minute. The name is Joran, right?
Joran.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
My
Good
brain
job.
was like, it's not Jarrell, but it's similar.
No,
Thank
that's
you.
Superman's dad.
Yeah, I am aware of that.
Sorry, I mansplained. Christopher, come get me.
Nah, it's fine. Although I do find the different views on Bashir's behavior interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
if he was more threatening, like if he had a more threatening just persona or vibe, I think it would be perceived a lot differently, but he's very much perceived as like awkward and like not threatening.
And Prentice, I know you wanted to talk a little bit more about the good man Bashir.
Yeah, listen, I went to college with a lot of guys like him. They are awkward.
We didn't go to college together.
Wow. No, we did not. But there were a lot of smart people around that did not know how to talk to the opposite sex. So, with that being the case, Bashir reminds me of one of these smart people that don't know how to shoot their shot. They don't have any game. And he comes across to me as annoying, but almost like a puppy dog. Playful, young, full of energy, that simply wants to be liked. But him being a creep, annoying, yes, creep, no. And I can't wait to see Chris's evolution, if there's going to be evolution, in his opinion of Bashir as we progress with this series.
Yeah, that will be interesting because Bashir does definitely evolve as we get through the series, which is nice because if he stayed this awkward, this show would be fucking painful.
Well, and I think O'Brien has a part of that. I think the first episode we get maybe the storyteller, I think, where O'Brien starts like, you know, being not only Bashir's friend, but also mentor, saying, dude, tone it down a bit. And then of course we find out later that Bashir is an augmented individual. So he's trying to hold back his intelligence, and he's just awkward as hell. I would almost say that, you know, I don't want to diagnose anybody, especially fake characters, but I would almost say he's on the spectrum, the way he acts.
Yeah, and once we find out that he's been altered, you can see where like that insecurity comes from, because as a child he knew he was behind and struggling, and then his parents like changed him. So I mean,
they made him not dumb, and then his parents told him don't tell anybody.
Right? I mean, that's a lot for like, because he was young when it happened, so that's a lot for a kid to deal with, and like growing up with all those insecurities and not feeling safe if someone finds out. But yeah,
and I mean, he even brings it up in the episode where we find out when he talks to his parents is they didn't want him like he was. They wanted to change him, so he's dealt with that his entire life. Anything else we got?
Was there else? Christopher did predict that Cisco and Dax's relationship will need to change because, you know, Dax is Jessi and now not Curzon. So viewing him as a mentor isn't gonna necessarily work as well.
Yeah, but I mean, I like that dynamic. I like that she is the old man to him. And I've praised Terry Farrell a lot already, but she plays it as a 28-year-old woman or actor in general. She can stand toe to toe with Avery frickin' Brooks, and she does a great job. And she will do a great job for 6 seasons.
Yeah. And I do like how they work together and interact and develop that relationship together. It worked so well, and I was so sad when it ended. And angry.
I just want to say now, fuck you, Rick Berman.
There you go.
Because you're the reason why. Just
Do we have to confirm the story about what actually happened? I'm hearing
Yes.
things that she didn't want. What happened?
So she came out a couple different times in interviews and cons, but the big one was the interview that was done on What We Left Behind, the DS9 documentary. And if I remember right, Rick Berman did apologize. And it was one of those like, if I offended anyone, I'm sorry. Not that I offended you, but that not that I did something that offended you, but that you were offended. But a lot of people, including the visitor, I can't list them all off, but Rick Berman was a creep. And I think the one that really hit on it the most was Jerry Ryan in Voyager. Rick Berman was the one who wanted her in that skin tight suit.
Yeah.
So in other words, he tried to sexualize the character more. He wouldn't pay her worth. What happened?
Yeah, I'm gonna misquote this, but if I remember right, she was negotiating for more money because no one had a season 7 contract. They all had 6 seasons contracts, so everyone had to renegotiate for season 7. She was trying to renegotiate, and what she has said, and again I'm misquoting, but I'll try my best on this, and don't hate me if I'm wrong. But she had said that she was told by somebody on production that she can be replaced, and that she is just there to be eye candy, not as an actor, and so she can be replaced. And the big thing in the documentary is she feels that she got thrown under the bus. Like Ira Stephen Bear didn't step up for her, and Ira Stephen Bear in the documentary says, "I'm sorry, I should have stepped up more for you, and I didn't, and that is, I failed." So there's a whole lot of stuff going on there. But the argument was, and also I think, if I remember right now that my memory's coming back, she wanted to renegotiate and she wanted less episodes. She wanted to be able to go off and do other things because I think she was either going to be on Becker at that point or she was working on trying to find the next thing. So she asked for less episodes and she asked for more money, and Rick Berman said no. I'm trying to find the quote here. Okay, yeah, in the book, The 5-Year Mission, or 50-Year Mission, which by the way is a 2-volume set and it's really good. Basically, he was trying to bully me into saying yes to another year. He was convinced that my cards were going to fold and I was going to sign up. He had another producer come to me and say, "If you weren't here, you'd be working at Kmart." I was like, "What the hell are you talking about? I had a career before this. Why the hell would I be working at Kmart? Who are you?" Just to be jerky, he'd call me in my trailer. "Have you been thinking about it at all? Are you going to sign?" Like right before I had a scene. It was that kind of thing. Rick Berman said I was hardballing him, and I was like, "I'm not. I just want to have a conversation. You're giving me a take it all or leave it offer, and I'm not okay with that." So I finally did have a conversation with him and asked to cut down my number of episodes or just let me out. And then Rick Berman said bye. Yeah, so yeah, I was close. If you weren't working here, you'd be at Kmart. You don't say that to any actor, but you also don't say it to an actor who has massive chops and is a fan favorite on the show, especially in later seasons. I mean, there's a reason why they got her and Worf together. It's because they were the 2 fan favorites at the time. So sigh. But we'll get to that, and we will absolutely have the newbies watch What We Left Behind after we're done with the show, because there's some revelations in there. And also you get to see Rom and Garrick and Jimmy Darren sing, which is nice.
There'll be a lot of feels for that one.
It's free on YouTube, by the way, so if anyone wants to check it out, you really should. What We Left Behind, a DS9 documentary, free on YouTube. I was a Kickstarter, so I paid for the documentary.
Oh, wow.
You're welcome. I just bought the Blu-ray. I didn't even get a producer credit. Some people did. Okay, anything else, guys? Mike has not returned from his apparently duties, so he'll be back next week, maybe. Okay, we'll be back next week for The Passenger, and then, guys, week after that, Move Along Home.
So excited.
I can't wait. That's 2 weeks from now. Move Along Home.
It's gonna be so good.
A reminder to click all the links, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, and please, please, please share the show around. And then also, if you can leave a review, please do. That really does help us grow. And thank you so much to our producers who are listed down below. You're very helpful to us, and we really appreciate it. And thank you to all our Patreon members who have been really stepping up. I want to point out Scott A., who said that he had been with us from the last show into this show, and he's he's excited to be a part of the Patreon now because he can help us out. And Scott A., we really appreciate that. Thank you.
Aw, thanks, dude.
Okay, guys, until next week, I've been Scott, and with me has been Mike.
Emily.
Prentice.
When I was one of Mike's best men at his wedding, I did a Barney Fife voice when I was impersonating him. Oh, Molly,
Oh my gosh.
Love you, Mike. Bye. He never listens to this anyway. He's a dick.
That's fine.
Okay, guys.
All right. See you next week.
Adios.
You Klystrons are allies of the Cardassians. Your knowledge of the station confirms that. They must have given you the layouts, which not only compromises Bajoran's security, but also annoys us.
I'm afraid Bajoran interests are involved. And Bajor is adamant that, at least I believe it's adamant.
Oh, yes.